I've already been singing way too much there. I've still got one more song to do in there. I need to just calm down and stop screaming because I'm just like, here! Oops. I forget that like microphones distort when I get loud. So I'm feeling summery today because I spent it was yesterday. My days are like becoming like really intertwined. The years are becoming intertwined. Was that 5 years ago? Like what? Right, anyways, I'm feeling summery today. So I'm wearing a dress. I'm wearing my white rings that I made. I don't know if I already told you, but I ordered some glue for these rings and the glue ended up being yellow and I was just so upset about it. I even left a review. I never leave reviews complaining, but this one I had to leave a review because I felt cheated because the glue said clear. So if it's clear, why is it yellow, sir? Please explain to me. I don't know if you can see it. Well, I guess I'll find out when I edit back if you can see the yellow or not, but just trust me when I say it's yellow, it's ugly, sorry. And I was just really upset about it. And it knocks me right off of my feet. God, it's so annoying how there's this thing here that just, it interrupts it. Can you hear it? What is wrong with my throat? God, I laugh way too much, you know, but life goes on. Bet you're glad you don't live with me. What is it like to just suddenly hear randomly like, yeah? I never consider what it's like to be the person that has to live with me. I only consider what it's like to be me, and I'm fine with me, but maybe people listening ain't fine with it. Oh no. Right. I didn't realize I could hold you from this end as well. So the reason why I want to talk about this subject is because I think it's going to be good to like spread awareness on things. Actually, it's always really good to spread awareness. And sometimes we don't even know how helpful it is to just like talk about things and just spread awareness. Like if you give me your life stories and how you experience life, it actually enriches me to hear it and it gives me like options and examples and choices. I know that options and choices are the same thing. And then I can, and also when I edit back, I'm always looking over there and I'm like, Nayna, just look at the camera, and I'm always daydreaming over there. Please forgive that. So I think the more we talk about each other's experiences and thinking, the more helpful it's going to be for people to even be aware of these things or these happenings and options. And I feel like this is an important one to be transparent about and to talk about. So let's get into the conversation. The difference between love and lust. So when I was younger, I don't know why I shout. So actually one time, like sometimes I get mellow and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I've taken a medication or something and I'm like really mellow. And then like I edit the video back and I'm like, oh, why are you so mellow? So I prefer you to be your natural self, but my natural self is like this. Oh my God. Right. So anyways, so for the longest time, I remember I always used to debate with people about this. I didn't like when they used to separate lust from didn't like it when they separated lust from love, because for me it's like, you know, lust sounded more fun. Lust sounded more like, oh, you really desire it, oh, you really want it. And I think I do that a lot in life, where I try to argue against people because I don't like how depressing their description sounds. And actually, as I'm starting to analyze my own description, I think sometimes I pull words out of thin air. I put them into sentences and I pretend that they make sense. And I don't know if they make any sense. I don't think they do. Just like the one I just did. But then eventually I analyze the things and then I get to similar points that I have rejected before, but I understand that the reason why I rejected it is because they were making it sound rubbish, and the reality of where I've got to now is not as rubbish as what they're saying it is. So let me see if I could do a better job than what those people did when they put me off trying to understand the difference between lust and love, because I did not want to understand it. But when I was younger, I saw it as the same thing. Lust and love is the same thing. Stop saying it's a different thing. You're just trying to make excuses for this and that. Lust and love, they belong together. Just shut up about it, right? Or at best, like, let them come together. Like, let lust and love come together, because then I can have both of them in the same person. So why are you trying to separate one from the other? Like, leave me alone. Like, I want to lust and love somebody in one person, and that's perfect for me. But and so I left that subject alone for a long time until recently. So then recently I met a guy, and like straight away, right, I know if I could be utterly in love with somebody, or if not, like, I think it's like in seconds of looking at somebody, I know if I can fall in love with that person, if that person can grab me. It's like this like instant thing that I'm able to comprehend. And if I get confused, then I'll start staring a little bit like, what are you? And then they catch me staring, I'm like, oh shoot, stop staring at people. So then this person that I met, it was this instant thing of like, no, you're not for me type of thing. So no. And that's what I usually do, is like no, because I know that I can't fall in love with you. I know that there's something in me that's like no, and I know to listen to that feeling all the time with all things. It's just a no, right? Anyways, so then I kept seeing this person, and then one time I saw them and they were looking really nice, and I was like, you look really nice today. And then I started like making things up in my head of like, and if did it do it, and then I started daydreaming about getting really, really drunk, because that's where you get confident in life. You get really, really drunk, and then I could imagine playing with him and having fun with him. But then I realized that if I did that, in the next day, he would expect for something else to develop between me and him. Like, oh, so now we've had sex. And when I thought of that, I was like, I don't want a relationship with you. Like, so then that means that I can't play with you, because you're gonna expect something from me that I don't want. And then I started sitting there going, but what is that? Isn't that what all men do? Like, you've been talking about I haven't been talking bad, but the whole world talks bad about men, you know, being this way. And here I was being this way, kind of going like, no, I want to play with you, I want to have sex with you, but I don't want a relationship with you. So the next morning, like, please don't ask that of me. And I know you will, so then therefore I'm not gonna do it. But because I was like shocked that I seemed to be behaving like a man, I had to think about what this meant, right? So then I was like, what? To be honest, these thoughts, they are so quick, and like this analyzing that I do is so quick that I don't even know where half of the things come from. But something popped in my head of like, could it be that that's what people say the difference between lust and love is? So one, you want them, but you don't want a tomorrow with them. And then the other one, you want a tomorrow with them and you don't want them to ever go away. And I didn't realize that these things can come alone, because I always rejected the one that wasn't good enough, because I didn't want to go around hurting people's feelings. And I remember when I was a child, I accidentally hurt like people's feelings, boys' feelings. And I remember like my older sister, like she really judged me for it. And one day she like really told me off, like, oh, you're a bad person because you're hurting this guy's heart. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a bad person. And I think I just got traumatized by all of these feelings that I hurt as a kid, that I don't want to hurt people's feelings. So therefore, if I know I'm gonna hurt your feelings, it's just a no. Like, it's a no. Even if you tell me like, oh, come on, I'll be like, no, because I know where this is gonna go and I'm gonna hurt your feelings, right? So for me, it was just a rejection, but I didn't realize that that's what the difference is. It's like one of them is you just want it for now and you're not thinking about tomorrow, nor do you want it tomorrow. And then love is when you want it to go on and on and on and on. And it's really funny because we actually want to play with each other. Ooh. Which is hilarious, because there was this other guy, gosh, I'm going on like I go around like, actually maybe I do, but I haven't actually. For the past 2 years I've been like a nun. No, I've not been a nun at all. And I remember like this other situation, this guy was like making me want to flirt with him, and I was like making effort to like, I don't know, and I was finding it fun, and I was like wanting to like poke and flirt and kind of almost touch him and almost do things and stuff. Oops. And I remember when I caught myself doing it, I actually got really annoyed, like, what are you doing? And I didn't understand, like, why is my brain doing this? Because I've been in such a weird place in my head. I was rejecting it in my head of like, why is my brain doing this? Like, why are you interesting? You're not even interesting. You're a human, just like all the rest of them. So why is my brain all of a sudden interested in your brain? And that's all that it is like your brain. Your brain creates you. Why am I interested in that? And I was trying to like devalue the feeling that I was having, where I was wanting the person and I was wanting to impress them, and I was wanting to, I don't know, they were interesting me. They were interesting me. They were taking my interest and they were interesting me. interesting. And it was this chemical thing because I could feel it in my head. Like my head was going ooh, ooh. And it was like, I want it, grab it, I want it, I want it. And I was like looking at my brain kind of going, what are you doing? He's just a human. What is this? Anyways, I got reminded that we actually want to play. Like we see things and we want to play, like, I want to play. And I feel like either we play with lust or we play with love. And lust is one thing, like I said, it's only for today and only for now. And love is for longer and longer and longer. So then it feels like lust alone, like if you're just to play with lust and only concentrate on lust, it's actually really difficult because I've never played like that before. I've always played with love. And I just can't wait to get to this conclusion that I'm gonna get to because like I'm just holding back here. But I've always played with love and I've never really played with lust. And I don't know how it feels like to value something and only lust it. Or I know how to make pretend, like maybe I'll get drunk and I'm gonna pretend. So then we're playing a pretend game, and maybe then lust alone is like a more immature version where we're not doing a real thing, we're pretending, like we're acting like kids. We're like, I'm gonna pretend that you're like my prince and you're just so special, but you're not. No. But I'm gonna pretend you are because right now I'm having fun and I wanna like experience this and I wanna experience you like this, but tomorrow I'm gonna look at you and I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's not what I want, because all I did was pretend the whole entire night that you were something to just entertain myself because I'm having fun and I'm using things. And so then I placed a fake or a false value on you. I bet you this is what men do. Hey. I think I'm uncovering something here, but to be honest, I do act a lot like a man. Like when people start complaining to me, I don't know how to just listen and to be like, like I just want to fix things. I want to get the, can we get to B? Like you're on A, let's get to B. Like I think I'm more of a man in my head. I go around fixing things. So I don't know. Maybe I am more of a man in my head, even though I look like a female. Even though when I was younger, the comments on YouTube told me I look like a man. So maybe this lust by itself is just this immature playing and making up beliefs and making things up, right? Like kids do. Let's pretend you're Spider-Man and let's pretend I'm this and then we're gonna pretend and oh my gosh, this is so fun. Okay, now I'm tired, I wanna go, right? And I was so scared of hurting people that maybe my brain did the math so quickly that I saw that if we make pretend, like when this game is over, are you gonna be okay that the game is over? Because sometimes one child is ready to move on from the game and the other one's still like, oh no, let's play some more. And I'm like, no. So I never allow myself to play this way. And maybe also the reason why is because I was always occupied in love that I never got to experiment, to be a bit childish and only play pretend and pretend. I don't see what the point of that is, because I prefer to have real things than fake things. Like I prefer to be Superman than to pretend to be Superman. And maybe children, they don't know the difference. They're like just playing and they don't know the difference. Anyways, so then interesting enough, let's talk about love alone. Just love alone, because I think I'm going to have to introduce it because then it's not going to make sense for me to talk about love alone, because I feel like the perfect love story, because I feel like I've dived into a deep hole here of a different conclusion than what I was thinking, because then maybe lust is one game and love is another game, and you don't need both of them for it to be perfect, because then maybe in love you can have the real thing rather than the fake thing. So then all this lusting that you're doing, all of this like, oh my gosh, you're so perfect, maybe it becomes real and sustainable throughout time versus the lust. Because what I was going to conclude here, what I had here as my point, is that I want both of them in one relationship. I want to lust you and I want to love you. I need to change but not that you can see what I've written here, so it doesn't really matter, but I feel like I need to change this conclusion of like wanting to have both for it to be perfect, because maybe lust is just immaturity of not having the real thing and just playing pretend. So then if you have the real thing, why do you need to play pretend? And I guess you could start to play pretend when you get bored, but for me, if you get bored, you could just go have another real thing somewhere else rather than starting to now, make up characters in your relationship to keep things interesting because of the love now you want to keep things interesting. So then you introduce lust of this play pretend in relationships, when really there's like so many other humans that you can just have another real thing with, and you don't need to keep trying to recreate things inside of this like one relationship if the relationship has now become boring or whatever. Okay, so let's just talk about the love side of it now, because I'm confusing myself here with this mixing of the two. So let's talk about love now. I think, yeah, people don't like this word that I'm about to use. They don't like it. Again, I'm stubborn. I want excitement in my relationship, so I want to use this word. So you can't tell me I can't, but maybe in the future I would understand the difference, but right now I don't. I feel like love equals, and I'm talking about romantic love, I'm not talking about family love, children love, pet love, I'm talking about romantic love. I feel like that love equals obsession. What? Complete fascination. I know, these words have all these negative attachments to them, but I don't have those negative attachments because I like these words. Like, I like being obsessive. I like if somebody's obsessive over me, and unless I don't like them back, then I don't want them to be, yeah, I don't want you to be obsessive over me if I don't like you back. But if I like you back, of course I want you to be obsessive. Please, come and stalk me in a very cool way, otherwise it would just go down. Pretend you're not doing it. Right, I've lost myself. Love alone. Love. So then because you're so obsessed and fascinated and super desiring of this person, then you want them tomorrow, and you want them the next day, and you want them the next day, and you want to keep experiencing this thing. I'm just wondering if like lust needs to start and then love comes after, because if you think about children, you don't know what you like until you play and you're pretending, and then you get really hooked on this one game, and you're both obsessed with it, and then you keep kind of saying like, oh, do you want to play that game again? So maybe lust can develop into love because you desire to keep replaying the make-believe thing that you've made up. But is there something where it's not make-believe and it's just like reality? And so maybe then, I keep saying maybe a lot today, a new word, a repeating word, maybe then that separates the different types of love. So then this love here is only gonna last for 1 year because it was based on this obsessiveness over make-believe things, whereas this love over here was based on reality, and you became obsessed over something that was real, and that's reality. So then this one is going to go further, or is going to last longer than this one, where it was a bit more immature based on non-factual things. Okay, so I like this picture of lust and love, but I've written here love alone, just love alone. And I think what I was trying to get at is that and I think these are just words, right? We use the same word to describe different things, like, oh, I love my mum, oh, I love my dad, oh, I love my dog, oh, I love my boyfriend. Like, we're using the same word to describe like all these different intensities of feelings. And I feel like what I'm about to talk about is more like care. When you care for somebody and you don't lust over them, I wish there was another word in between lust and love, like where it was the thing that I just described, where you're obsessed with them and you want to carry on living this, and it's based on reality. Like, I want to call that something else. I'm going to call that love, and I'm going to call this care. And so then if you only have care and you don't have love, I don't want to use these words because I know it's confusing. If you don't have desire but you have care, then you don't want to play with them. You don't want to play with them. You don't want to have fun with them. They don't entice you. And they entice you a little bit, just a little bit. Like, for example, I have friends that I really am enticed to speak to them. When they come around, I'm excited. When they leave, I'm like, oh, you're gonna leave? Oh, because I'm enticed to have conversations with them. I have no desire to touch them, or to want to touch them, or to want them to touch me. I have no like fluttering of my chest. What is this feeling that we experience towards other humans? I was really confused out there. I'm like, what am I feeling? Why am I flirting with this guy? I haven't flirted with somebody for ages. So we have this desire to play, and without that desire, I will call that care, because you don't want to play with them. So then, my perfect future love, again, my anger's creeping in right now because it's like, what future love? Like, off, there is no future love. Why are we so obsessed with being loved? It should just be available in all things, in all places, at all times. Like, no. So then I feel like then the lust will be based on reality. I keep jumping between these words, and it's just not making sense. But the love or the lust will be based on reality and not make believe, and then the desire will carry on the day after, the day after, the day after, and it's like this fresh thing all the time of desiring to want to play with them because they intrigue you enough to keep you interested to want to play with them, and you want to carry on playing with them. And it's not make believe, it's real, and you want to play with them, you want to touch them, you want to have access to touch them, and then hopefully you become obsessed with having it. To be honest, everything is a bit of a mind game anyway, so it just depends how much you give yourself something. It depends what your limit is as to how much you can have before you get bored of something, how much time you take away from it, come back from it. I feel like there's a whole mathematics behind how to entertain yourself and how to please yourself. And if you know what you're doing and you're aware, then I guess you could do these things. But mind you, if somebody's too aware, I feel like that's also off-putting, because then it's not this, like, it's not a game. I shouldn't say that because I don't care if it's boring anymore. I prefer boring over this. Like, whatever boring is, I prefer that over this any day. So give me the boring, thank you. I don't want none of this stuff. I know there's no such thing anyway. I'm just waffling here. Okay, so I guess I'll close off by saying that, you know, we have the desire to play, and either we want to play make-believe and we only want it to last a short period, or we want to play make-believe and we want for it to last a little bit longer, but make-believe always comes to an end. Or we are based on reality and we want to play with each other, and then this desire to have it over and over again and the obsessiveness over it then builds a long-term bond and a long-term chemistry with somebody, which then we call a love long-term relationship. And there's clear distinctions, and I hope I did a good job in explaining them. So before I go, I'll leave you with my 2 cents. I don't know what that means. I should stop using these words. I want to start using, I heard people saying, oh, this is giving. Oh, this is giving. This is giving Beyonce. I feel like I want to start using that. Like, oh, this is giving. This is giving positivity. Maybe I'm not using it in a correct way. So, I'm going to leave you with my 1 penny, my 2 penny, my 5p coin. Might as well get the biggest one. My £2 coin. Why did you make a £2 coin? No, for real, why did they make a £2 coin? And also, all these decisions that are made in a world, why don't we all get to have a say? Like, no thank you, we don't want a £2 coin. Why is it that only a select few people get to make all the decisions? And you know what? I turned left on the road the other day, and when I had turned already, I realized that you're not allowed to turn there, and there was no sign at the traffic light saying don't turn left. And I turned left, and by the time it was just too late, and then there was a big massive sign there saying the camera's there, and I just feel like, are you trying to make money on purpose here? Because there is no way I would have known that I can't come down this road, and I'm just like waiting for the letter to come through my post so I could appeal that stuff. You see, I'm trying not to swear here. I just feel like this world is like really unfair, like full of like really evil, crazy people who are so hungry. And I shouldn't say evil because like that separates it, doesn't it? Like, because if you're that person who is hungry for money and you're, you know, putting tricks on the street to make money on purpose, if you're listening to this video, then you're gonna feel like you're my enemy, and I don't want you to feel like you're my enemy. I just want us all to stop doing this stupid nonsense and stop being so selfish and so bad, because it's not very nice. It's not very nice. And I want to be nice. I want to live in a nice world because it's just better. So please stop it. Stop doing that. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna leave you with my 5p cents. I was gonna say, right, be transparent about what you're doing. Which one are you doing? Are you lusting? Are we playing a lust game? Are we playing a love game? What are we doing? If you're transparent, then that is gonna fix a lot of problems in the world. Having said that, I know that children, they still get upset at you, even if you tell them the truth and you say, okay, this game is not for me because I don't like to do the lust game, I only do the love game, so I'm gonna be honest with you, you're only lust for me, so therefore I don't want to play. Most children, when you say no to something, they don't understand it and actually they get hurt anyway. But let me tell you, that pain is nowhere as big as the pain as after the lust has finished and then they have to then move on. And I guess that only happens when there's a mismatch, when one of them is seeing you as love and the other one is seeing you as lust, and then those two play, then that's the problem. Because if two lusting people play together, then there is no heartbreak. If two love play together, there is no heartbreak. But it's just the lust and the love that caused the problem. So if you know that you're different, I say don't play at all, but I just know how kids are like and we're all a bit kiddish, right? So then we're gonna end up playing. something, but you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. Because even if this lust one here turns it into love, like I said, this one's gonna go longer than this one because this one was based on make-believe. So then this one is always gonna be heartbroken unless they somehow join this lusting thing and then they stop caring. They stop caring about tomorrow. But basically you have to land on the same page eventually for it to not be heartbreak, because we don't want to be abandoned. We don't want to be told that we're not good enough. And if you're lusting over somebody and you don't love them, are you saying that I'm not good enough? And if you play kids in the right way, they don't even notice. Like, because you're distracting their brain. So one has to be clever, one has to be kiddish for it to like not hurt. So then we should match with people who want what we want. Are you lusting or are you loving? Be honest, and hopefully there will be no heartbreak. Okay, I've said enough. Thank you for listening. If you have, I always hear people talking about like, can you please subscribe at the end of the video? And I feel like that stuff is so cringy. But then I do wonder if people just they don't even think about it. They watch your videos and they're like, oh, that was fun, next video. And it's like, well, hold on. If you subscribe to me, it will be really helpful. Like, do we have to remind people about those things? But I kind of don't want to do that either, because that just feels like wrong. Like that whole thing I was telling you about the feeling, it feels wrong. It feels wrong to ask for help. I think that's something I need to figure out with my therapist. Is it wrong to ask for help? Like, say if I'm on the ladder at the top and I need something right at the bottom, I will cringe at the thought of asking somebody, can you please pass me that over there? And I get a bit irritated at people who find it very easy to just tell other people, oh, help me. Like, I don't like it. And when I see somebody who's in my position doing the same thing, and then they say, oh, please pass me the hammer. I'm like, you're so fine with asking. Like, why am I not fine with asking? I will get down from that tall ladder, go get what I need and go back up before I ask anybody for help. Like, I don't know why I'm like that. And it makes me cringe when somebody's the opposite to me, where they find it so easy to kind of go, excuse me, can you do this for me? Excuse me, can you do that for me to make my life easier, please? And I'm like, ugh. But that's something I need to talk about with a therapist. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, I will be back with another video. I will give you a disclaimer. My other video is going to be a bit inappropriate. So if you don't like to talk about sexual things, I suggest you stay away from my sexual videos, because the next one's gonna be a little bit like, Nayna, are you really talking about that? Yes, I am. I'm going to talk about it. Okay, maybe I'm gonna talk about oral sex basically, because I want to introduce the video that I'm gonna end up doing with my friend, and I don't want it to come out of nowhere. So I'm gonna do a video before he comes to London to film with me. So I will be introducing oral sex next. Okay, until next time, bye.